Hello. Please welcome Arne Solberg. He's a professor of computer science at the Norwegian University of Science and Technology in Trondheim. He also brings with him his wife Ingeborg, who is also a professor of computer science at the same place. She works on digital libraries and information resource management, so if you have any questions about that, you can catch her later. Meanwhile, Dr. Solberg has some very interesting things to tell us about things he's been doing with Wi-Fi in the city of Trondheim, so please welcome him.
Thank you. Hi. We've been very interested in getting in contact with you guys at Google's after we saw all of the nice writings in the newspapers about the Wi-Fi net in Mountain View, not to speak of San Francisco. And it's very hard to get anything out of the newspapers because they are short pieces, you know, so we are very curious, have been very curious to see what the technicalities are, what you're really doing. Because we are trying to do things in Trondheim, and we are trying then to put a wireless network in place, a wireless broadband in place in the city. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about that now, and also to talk a little bit about some of the sort of, should I say, political questions that naturally will arise, because this is new stuff, and I think everybody are a little bit uncertain about what the future will bring on this. We see that the telecoms, for example, react in interesting ways sometimes, and so on. Let me place ourselves on the map and so on by a few pictures first. Trondheim, as you, oops, can I have this work? Yeah, is in Scandinavia. It's on the Norwegian coast. It's 63 degrees north. While I think Fairbanks I think is 60. Or is it Anchorage? It's a great place, and I'll show you some pictures. Let me first say then that one of the reasons I came up here now is that my wife and I spent a sabbatical with UCLA, with the Department of Computer Science there, so we are there for the spring. So it's very convenient then to be up here. So this is Trondheim, and here is the main building of the university. Why is not this working? Yeah. As seen from downtown. Downtown in Norwegian is called Midtown or Midtbyen, where by is the Norwegian term for town, so it's Middletown. There is a river going through, and we have some high-rise buildings here. And the next picture then shows you the one of our two main campuses, as seen from the opposite side. So this is the main building again, and we got campus buildings here. And Midtown is basically the area down here. See, and a little bit out here. So Midtown, as we define it, is around half a square mile. Okay? Now, the Faculty of Information Technology, Mathematics, and Electrical Engineering, where I'm serving as a dean now, is situated here. And we also got one of the high-rise buildings here. The town looks something like this. You see, what I just showed you, the picture, where the main building and the university campus is up here. Then the picture that I showed you covered most of Midtown, which is here, which is around, as I said, half a square mile. Then we have the campus of the Technical University, which is here. We have student dorms, which are here, and we have a campus for the humanities, which is up here. We have marine technology, which is here, and we have some other facilities, some other buildings around here. The distance from the humanities social science campus down to Midtown is around 4 miles. It's 6 kilometers en route. There is a public bus going here where the yellow stuff is, and it takes around 20 minutes then from downtown and over here. I mean, if traffic is not too heavy, and traffic is never heavy. We plan then to build wireless network then along this route here to cover downtown. And there are also a lot of students living in the area here, and we are also negotiating then to have sort of extended the net over there. We know that there is no real solution yet for vehicles in motion. There is the Vibro experiment or pilot in South Korea, but it's not sort of ready to take. So there is we are planning then to do this, but it's not in the first. The first thing that we'll be doing. There is another. The green stuff here reflects plans then to implement an instrumented road. I mean, an IT instrumented road for experimental purposes. But that will be that'll be a little bit more advanced than the bus stuff that we otherwise would plan to do in a sort of more rough start. Okay, so let's say that what we have now is plans then for wireless broadband in downtown Trondheim. That's approximately half a square mile of outdoor area. We want that to be integrated with the wireless broadband of the campus or of the campuses. The campuses altogether are around 2 square miles outdoor and 5 million square feet indoor areas. I hope it's 5 million. It's 500,000 or 400,000 square meters, which I think will translate to 5 million square feet. We have around a quarter of that covered already with Wi-Fi, and the goal is 100% Wi-Fi. So we may view the downtown outdoor net as a technical extension of the campus net. The long-term objectives that we have, and that everybody should have, would then be broadband for all, which would mean 30 to 50 megabit per second, access everywhere. The constraint, of course, as we know, is that radio frequencies are scarce. Which means that we have to base the Wi-Fi net on a wired backbone, and we are sort of in our thinking that the wireless part would only sort of take the maximal with current technology 50 to 100 meters out to the user from the access point on the wired backbone. Because if traffic is not too heavy, then one can also sort of substitute the wired backbone with radio frequency communication. But if the load sort of gets up, then that's not possible. So we need a lot of access points with the current technology. So question now is why now? And this is a sort of printout of the traffic statistics of the campus. And shows then how the volume of wireless internet traffic has increased then from 204 to 205. So it's approximately doubled. And it's going to double now also next year. So students are sitting everywhere and with their laptops and using the facilities that we got already. So this is coming very fast. We also know that the development and of this small stuff, I mean the smartphones, everything is going very fast, and so that's the way things are. We just have to do this, and we have to do it fast, and things will change very, very fast in the next years to come. Of course, we have to realize this in several steps with different technologies. So we are using, like I suppose most people would do now, the 802.11 technology, unlicensed frequency, garbage band, because users already have Wi-Fi compatible devices. This is the way we can reach the users. The complementation and replacement of new technologies, for example, WiMAX, or the 802.16 technology, or others will, of course, be done as they become available and as the user's equipment then will be able to take it. This is downtown, and from, I don't know if it's Google Earth, and so downtown here, the river here, and student dwellings up here, or student dwellings. They have bought apartments and stuff like that. So it's pretty full of 20-year-olds, very few 2-year-olds, and even fewer 60-year-olds. So this is the situation, and what we do then is to sort of course build in then with a couple of hundred access points in this. I may, for those of you interested in history, this place here is the harbor from which Leif Erikson started out his journey then to discover Newfoundland and America. He had spent the winter in Trondheim with relatives, and in the summer then he set out to go back to Greenland. He stopped then for a couple of days in Iceland, and then came out into this terrible storm, which brought him then to Newfoundland. I mean, just for a digression, of course, but the next stage here would go something like this, that we would extend then with the technology available then, the WiMAX, Vibro. All of you are familiar with Vibro? No. Okay, Vibro is a South Korean pilot which they set up then for mobile situations, for cars or autos then to be able to take broadband. It's in a limbo right now, I heard. And the reason is that they got into quarrel with the state-owned and controlled television company. In order to have economy in the Vibro, then they have to offer downloading of television to be able then to charge for that. And the state-owned television company sort of exerts the right then to a monopoly on all television. So it'll take a year or two, I think, then to work this out. Most of the, and there is also CDMA, which is another technology, and UMTS, which you know, of course, and most of the city now is covered by UMTS. So we already have a sort of half megabit coverage of a lot of the city. You see, in the country there is a very high penetration of ADSL, of broadband. I would guess that 60, 70, 80% of all homes then have wired broadband in their homes. Most of the kids are going around with cell phones. If you go into a 5th grade, I would guess that 90% of the kids have a cell phone. And people are sort of giving their kids cell phones in order then to, I mean, they feel secure in a way. So it's a very broad and deep penetration of technology already among the population in general. Okay, so this will be the next stages, and of course what we try to do then, the challenge is then to have a seamless roaming with session mobility. What does this cost? Seems to us that the outdoor investment is approximately $1 million per square mile. It's a little, maybe 1.2 million, something like that, per square mile. The indoor investment is approximately 10 times as much. Annual operation and maintenance, the way we look at this, will be around 50% of the investment cost. If we now look at Trondheim, which has around 250 square miles and 170,000 persons, we see that this translates then if everybody if everybody pay from babies of 6 months until the old ones, then it'll be $60 per month. And of course, this is impossible. I mean, it's way too much. Maybe in Mountain View, it will be okay because you have got 70,000 or something like that in a couple of square miles, I suppose. And this will then translate to something which is achievable and okay. With us, it doesn't. So, of course, we have to have a mixture of technologies which brings down the price. And we also tend to believe that in order to have this to really take off, there is an urgent need for new network research, pretty much then on the radio technology level. I mean, to be able then to use the frequency bands that we have in a much more effective way. But of course, this is a sort of 5, 6, 7 year stuff that we are talking about. Now, what do we want? Where do we want to go with this? We want to contribute to the future of Norwegian trade and industry with cutting-edge expertise in wireless service and products. That's obvious. We would like then to try to create a world-class incubated laboratory for research and development in wireless technologies, products and services. And we would like to make Trondheim and NTNU more attractive to students and technology-based business. So the last one here is very important to us because we suffer, as all of the rest of the world, from the effects then of the dot-com collapse, where the young ones are not that interested they don't dare to go into IT in the way that they did before. We have to turn this around in some way, and this is one of the things that we are trying to do. What is unique with what we are doing, because we know that there are many efforts. We just now saw that there is a new effort and in the City of London, where they also go out for 1 square mile of wireless broadband. We try then to come up with a duality between R&D and commercial utilization. We want to have a stable network running on state-of-the-art technology, and so that we can implement commercial services on that and experiment with that. And we want also to have a platform for R&D and new products. So what we are doing then is to when we are setting up, what do you call it, the brackets, I mean, where we put the access points up in the light poles. Huh? Bracks, I don't know the English word, you see, bracks. I mean, okay, we are making room for 4 parallel networks. Okay, so that people who come in with a great network idea, with great new stuff, okay, come, put it up, make it available for the people around, and if they want to chance take a chance in using it without having, without being guaranteed a sort of level of support that they'll have on state of the art, then fine. So we make provision then for 3 experimental networks in parallel with the other stuff. We will build a service platform on the normal, sort of the guaranteed state-of-the-art technology with mobility, positioning of users, and security. I mean, we know, of course, that we can pinpoint the users to within 5 meters or something like that with this technology, and if they are willing then to be pinpointed, and they have to have a say, of course, then we can provide the positioning information system which takes advantage of localization. Security is, of course, a big problem, and the target groups, nomadic and mobile users. We want to provide outdoor coverage and indoors at malls and cafes. So the intention then is to have a seamless net which is sort of going from inside the buildings and out, and everything hanging together. When we can achieve that is another question, of course. But we're already talking to mall owners in downtown who are interested then in having their malls covered in the seamless network with the outdoor areas. So we'll see what happens. We do not intend to compete with XDSL or with DSL. ADSL is called with us, and whatever comes, and cable. I mean, this is not our intention. I'm not quite sure whether the other guys believe in that, but it is not our intention. We start out with the customers that we see, the target groups now, are R&D companies who want them to do experiments, and also big users, like our university. We have around 20,000 students. In the other colleges in town, there is another 10,000, so altogether there is a sort of student population of 30,000. In our faculty for information technology, electrical engineering, we have around 2,500 master's students, 500 a year on a 5-year program. We have 250, 400 PhD students, and of course, so altogether 3,000, something like that. And of course, these are then early adapters. They are people that we would have then to recruit and for okay, so the next would, and we will give this for free to them. The next would be service developers. We would like then to develop new services and have companies in to do that. And then private individuals and businesses. So the applications, research and development, business models, user patterns, services, production, and so on and so forth. We are very interested then in paving the way then for doing research on services, on information services. Yeah, those will be standard services like everybody would do, location-based services, mobile services, nomadic services, and of course in this there would be then the opportunity then to do new things. We have some planned e-learning projects. We have a number of projects that we are now trying then to sort of get underway. We try to develop cooperative projects then with the city, the county. One is then for trying to use the city as a digital learning arena, cooperation with the elementary school district. We also developed in cooperation with local high schools and our School of Education. We try to develop a context-independent information system for the new students when they arrive then in the autumn, and so on and so forth. So this is just one of the strands. Now, the open questions, coming here now, and that is which services will people pay for? I mean, with the high penetration that we already got and in the broadband, in the homes, then for people then to pay something extra for having this wireless downtown, there must be some extra services which makes it worthwhile. And I think this is because we do not have the situation that you have, for example, in New Orleans and Philadelphia and so on, where they try then to build a wireless network which will reach into people's homes from the outside. We have the other situation where we have broadband network in people's homes, and we want to use that to reach to the exterior of the building. So which kind of services will people pay for? Well, we don't know. Certainly there must be something which makes it worthwhile then for mobile and nomadic employees. Which kind of ICT products would we have? We know that we will have to build up a help desk for the population. I mean, because we know the trouble that we get into when we take our own laptop and try then to sort of go into the wireless network in a motel here or there. Is not easy, and so we are planning then to build up a help desk then based on students and starting this summer, and serving the population then for at least a year or so. Which kind of business model can we build up? How can we get in money enough then to be able to sustain this? And we also have to look at that. What we are planning to do now is to offer everything for free for the first year. What about citizens' privacy protection? We know all of these problems. Who owns the Wi-Fi broadband networks? We know that the telecoms owns the wired networks, but the property owners owns the buildings networks. In my home, I mean, the responsibility of the telecom operator stops at the wall. They will not take any responsibility for what is inside the house. Then I have to start to ask them if they will come and fix things up, and I have to pay them. Which, of course, means that they say, this is not our property. So it's my property. So who owns then the air above my garden, above my house? Is it me? When my wireless access point is sort of radiating out possibilities then to my neighbors then to attach themselves? Is that my property? We are getting into a sort of discussion of ownership here, which I believe will bring about new regulatory regimes, and we don't know really what they are going to be. So when we start and it's sort of developing this, I believe that we are defining new competition arenas. Because I mean, the way we have had it until now with the telecoms has been that the telecoms, they have tried in a way then to be vertically integrated, to control everything from the copper in the ground to the services on top, and then they make possibilities then for people coming in with the content services, then to make a deal then with those who own the copper. I think, I mean, it is. I don't believe that this is a sustainable model. I mean, not with players like Google and Skype and others then in the game. So, but which kind of model would we have then? I would certainly like them to see a kind of horizontal organization with service provision in value chains, and then with the definition of new competition arenas for the different kinds of services. And then which new network technology will we have. The way we organize the project then is that we have an infrastructure project, and we have a net laboratory project, and an information service development project. The infrastructure project is, I call then Trondheim Wi-Fi Broadband Commons. The concept of commons is known. Okay, so and I think the concept of commons sort of in some way says that the air above us in the streets and so on is the public's ownership. The public, I mean, the population owns this. So it's in a way a commons area. And so we start out with that philosophy in the bottom. The owners here will be NTNU, University, the city of Trondheim, the county, and the Chamber of Commerce. So we are organizing those, and they come in with a quarter of the money, the necessary money each. We have a net laboratory which we are about to start, and we will own that in cooperation with the industry, but then inviting in whoever wants to come in and rent a part of the brackets. Okay. We are setting up also then for information service development projects then where we are talking then to companies like Accenture and so on to come in and do whatever they feel like doing. The success criteria, we believe, is the early mobilization of many users. The early mobilization of many users. And we come up then with the first priority will be then the 30,000 students that we got because they are the easiest to mobilize. Second priority will be the elderly, those over of an age of more than 27 years. But the younger ones first. The younger ones first. So we are also then trying to make this to cover the high schools and junior highs then in the area that we cover, trying to involve the kids then in doing things, doing projects based on this, and so on and so forth. If we succeed, okay, we don't know, but again, this I believe is very, very important in order for us to have success. We also believe that we would have to develop new information services adapted to mobility. Homo mobilus. I mean, I don't have a sort of classical background in Greek and Latin, but I mean, Homo mobilus. And we need to have new network technology for lower costs. It's too expensive the way it is now. We will never succeed unless we get the costs down. And we need to make students and grown-ups have lots of fun with the new technology. If we can't sort of achieve that, then we will not be successful. The progress plan is my last slide. We take the lower part of the river, and the lower part of the river is, this is Leif Eriksson's start point. This is an old shipyard which has been converted to restaurants and stuff. This is a sort of part of the small boat harbor in the river. And so we are taking out this now, and this will, for a small pilot to see then, I mean, what are the noise ratios? I mean, of course, this is the garbage band, and there will be noise and so on, and if we can have it to work or not. So this pilot today is Monday, and it is due then on Friday. To work. So I'm going home to Norway, to Trondheim on Thursday, arriving Friday, 2nd March, and I'm going to inspect it then on the 6th of March, 7th of March. So I hope then that'll work. The next one is 15th of August, when the new semester starts and the new students are coming. So we try then to have Midtbyen then as an extension of the campus network, then with 200 access points down in Midtbyen, and to have this work then. And then we just cross our fingers and then hope that things will work out. And again, this is the university's logo, the city's logo, the county's logo, and the logo of the Chamber of Commerce, which go together then for the infrastructure, and we invite then everybody then to come in and join in if they feel that they would be part of the fun. That's it. Thank you. Any questions? Any remarks? Yep.
So it sounds like you're pretty close to deployment. So how are you controlling access? Is it just wide open access points, or you capture, or what?
What we are going to do is to have the large users behave like their own ISPs. So the university will serve as an ISP for the students and the employees at the university. We'll use a VPN type of channel, so that everybody who wants to go into this have to have some deal. I mean, either with a normal ISP, of which there are ISP, of which I think there are 3 or 4 or 5 active ones in the city, or they have to have a VPN connection to their employer. So we are going to do it that way. Also because we need to be very careful not to start a head-on competition with those who make a living out of selling internet services the way it is. So this is the way we're going to do it. Yeah.
Have you considered at any point in your studies giving, actually employing people's, like the inhabitants of Trondheim's access points at home as part of the mesh?
Yes, we have. That was the first idea that we started out with half a year ago, or 9 months ago, to try to create a sort of commons based then on the goodwill of the people. After having sort of pondered a little bit with this and looked at the organizational complexities, we gave it up.
Just because of organizational complexity?
Because of organizational complexity and well, there are some legal complications also maybe, because we also recently got a law which is saying that it's a crime then to go into your neighbor's wireless network unless you are invited in. And I don't know, I think if we got 70,000 homes in the city, then it will be, a job really to try then to organize all of this. At least 25 or at least 20% of any population will protest to anything.
Right, but I mean, the way I see it, right? I mean, if the router, if the wireless piece of equipment, hardware, was accessible by the organization that is putting this together, then the organization can manage it with the like approval of whoever takes that into his home.
Yes, but we also have to consider that there is no software available, as we knew of half a year ago, that would give seamless roaming over a number of different technical brands. What we can do today is to buy an area with one brand of equipment. We can manage roaming within that brand of equipment, but then for a city of that size, no, we gave it up. We believe that will be beyond our capabilities.
I mean, the way I'm sorry. The way I see it, the individual would actually get the equipment from your organization. So everybody would have the same equipment, and they would pay for the equipment in exchange for getting the right to actually have access in the city.
Yeah, but we have a much better model now, and that is that we will offer this for free then to all of our students and so on as an extension of the campus network, until we have developed services which makes this economically feasible. Because it's quite clear that we can do things now for the first year, maybe 2 years, without having income to cover the expenses, but we can't do that for 5 years. I mean, we need to develop a sustainable business model for this. Well, I mean, that was our decision.
It seems to me that if you let 30,000 students onto an open wireless network, all kinds of hell will break loose in terms of excess bandwidth usage. So how are you going to keep the network fair?
Well, I mean, we already have 30,000 students on our campus network. So, or maybe not 30,000. We have every week. We have 17,000 sort of active IP addresses, and not more than 1,500 of those will be servers and things like that. So we are already in that situation. So this doesn't make very much of a change.
Yeah, so you don't have any trouble with excess usage by small numbers of users?
Of course we have. I mean, also all of the dorms have broadband. Not wireless though, but broadband. And of course, some of the students there are sort of plaguing the rest of the population by downloading masses and masses and masses, and okay, they get the word that behave or you're kicked out. So I think this is manageable. This is manageable. People are generally very sensible if they are given the chance to be so. Okay. If there is nothing more, then thank you very much for listening.